Top local headlines now. An Arizona dentist's license is suspended after a woman dies in his chair. The ABC15 investigators uncovering red flags in his background dating back 20 years. ABC15 investigator Ann Ryman exposing how state licensing laws can allow something like this to happen.
This is Dr. Thomas Endicott. His dental license is suspended in Arizona after a 72-year-old woman died after being given anesthesia in his dental chair.
He completely mismanaged a medical emergency.
This is Dr. Anthony Hero, a dentist and president of the Arizona Dental Board. During a 2022 meeting, the board reviewed the death and expressed their concerns about how Dr. Endicott attempted CPR.
And your rate was 5 to 2, so 5 compressions to 2 breaths?
Yes.
Are you aware what current guidelines are?
It should have been 15 and 2.
30 and 2. 30 and 2. For a one-man.
The board's investigator saying Dr. Endicott failed to identify a cardiac medical emergency and failed to give the patient oxygen after she had difficulty breathing. But his lawyer called the death an unfortunate event.
It's our position that Dr. Endicott appropriately managed the patient's care and treatment as he tried to walk through an emergent situation.
This is not the first time Dr. Endicott has been questioned by a dental board. In Michigan in 2005, he pleaded guilty to healthcare fraud and overprescribing narcotics. He also pleaded guilty the same year to attempted criminal sexual conduct after a female employee said he pinched her on the butt. He had to register as a sex offender because of that charge wherever he lived. He lost his dental licenses in Michigan and Illinois as a result of the criminal charges. But he got a second chance when the Arizona Dental Board licensed him in 2012.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Scott Eldridge is a medical malpractice lawyer in Arizona who's not involved in this case, but he's handled other cases involving patients who died after dental procedures.
If the state had required this dentist to report that information in a spot where the consumer could gain access to it, no one would choose someone with a background like that. Why would you when you have so many other well-qualified dentists that don't have that sort of mark on their record?
He's critical of an Arizona law that requires health boards to post just 5 years' worth of disciplinary actions on their websites. Anything further back, you have to specifically request from the dental board. So how did Dr. Endicott get licensed in Arizona? The ABC15 investigators submitted multiple public records requests to the dental board to get answers. Then we obtained this audio recording from a 2012 board meeting where Dr. Endicott pled his case for a license.
I paid all my debts to society, and I moved out of here. I'd like to start a new life and begin again.
His lawyer gives details on Dr. Endicott's misdemeanor sexual offense.
It's not like he's a child molester or anything. This was for the allegation of pinching a assistant in the buttocks.
In a letter to the board, Dr. Endicott says he was accused of pinching his assistant on St. Patrick's Day and that some people pinch you if you are not wearing green. But he denied doing it. Under Arizona law, the dental board could have denied Dr. Endicott a license because of his criminal convictions and also because he lost his license in other states.
I'm very uncomfortable with this particular person. I would recommend that we not grant him.
The board initially denied him a license, but Dr. Endicott appealed and was granted a license in Arizona. None of those members are still on the dental board.
Dental board records show Dr. Endicott was disciplined the second year he started practicing in Arizona when a root canal damaged a patient's tooth. The dental board disciplined him again that same year when he was late completing his continuing education.
But he kept practicing dentistry, bouncing around, listing 13 different offices in the valley where he worked as a dentist. Then, in 2019, he was ordered to take ethics training after he failed to tell the dental board he was arrested for not having a current address on file as a sex offender. Then, in 2022, the board temporarily suspended his license after his patient died until the outcome of the disciplinary case. The dental board tried to go a step further earlier this year.
My recommendation with this would be that we offer a disciplinary consent agreement for a surrender of his license. Motion passes, none opposed.
But Dr. Endicott declined to give up his license, which brings us to Utah, where Dr. Endicott currently has a dental license free of restrictions. My Scripps News colleague caught up with him recently at this dental office in a Salt Lake City suburb.
Dr. Endicott, I'm Nate Carlisle with KSTU here in Salt Lake City. Can we talk to you for a couple minutes about your case in Arizona?
No.
Do you plan on fighting your suspension there and trying to keep your license? Can you talk to us about your practice here in Utah?
I also reached out to Dr. Endicott by email, letter, and phone. When I tried to ask him questions, he hung up on me twice. His lawyer did not respond to phone calls or emails. The Arizona Dental Board tells me they're moving toward a formal hearing for the revocation of Dr. Endicott's license. This is something we'll continue to follow. I'm investigator Ann Ryman, ABC 15 Arizona.